13 roads. Here is a tale I have not yet forgotten. The wild hunt rode over the village of Edell in the last night of October in the 17th year of the war. And at first light, the priest counted the names the hunt had said aloud in the air above the bell tower, and the count was 63, which was every man and woman and child in Edell, and the priest, who had counted himself, last. The names had been spoken in a voice that no one in Edell heard, who was not, by the next sunset, dead. The priest heard the names because the priest was already going to die. He had a growth in his stomach that he had not told anyone about. He had 8 days. The hunt knew. I will tell you what the hunt is, and what it took from Edell, and what the priest wrote on a slate the night he heard his own name said in the air. A slate his successor found 3 weeks later, hidden in the chapel, and which is still hidden, and which I have seen with my own hands. The Bone Road runs east-west along the spine of the mountains north of Edell. It is the road the dead are kept on. It is the road a man, in the country of the 13 roads, walks when he is willing to walk for a thing he loved enough to bargain for. The Bone Road also has, on the last night of October every year, a thing of its own that comes down off it, a thing the country has called, for as long as the country has had a name, the Wild Hunt. The Wild Hunt is not a hunt for sport. The Wild Hunt is the dead riding behind a leader who is older than the road itself, and the dead do not ride for pleasure. The dead ride because they are still, somewhere in what is left of them, owed an answer. Each rider in the hunt has a name he once said back. Each rider, when the hunt comes down off the road on the last night of October, listens. If the hunt rides over your village, and the rider hears the name he has been waiting for, said aloud, in a voice he can hear, the rider stops, and the rider takes the speaker, and the rider goes back up the Bone Road, and the rider goes quiet for another year. Most years, the hunt finds 2 or 3 of its names. Most years. The 17th year of the war, the hunt rode over Edell, and every rider got their name back. Edell was a poor village in the 17th year of the war. 41 houses, a stone chapel with a low bell tower, a weaver, 2 smiths, an innkeeper called Bren, who had a daughter named Mira, and a priest called Father Edell, who was 43 years old and had a growth in his stomach the color of plums. Edell had also, in the 17th year of the war, taken on more than its share of the war's grief. Edell had sent 26 of its sons north. 2 had come back. The other 24, Edell had not given names to. Edell had not held funerals. The bodies were on the Bone Road. The bodies' names were not allowed to be said aloud, because to say a soldier's name when his body has not been brought home is to invite the road to come and ask about him. Edell had been careful, for 16 years of war, not to say the names. The 17th year was different. The 17th year, a woman called Adella, whose son Tomek had been north 4 years and not returned, was sitting at her loom on the morning of the last day of October. She was 48 years old. She had 9 teeth. She had not, since the day the messenger came back without her son, eaten a meal she did not have to be told to eat. That morning, she put her shuttle down very carefully. She walked to the chapel. She told Father Edell that she had decided to say her son's name aloud at the bell tower at sundown, because she could not stand, one more winter, the silence in her own house, and because if the road wanted Tomek, it could have her instead of him. Father Edell said, "Adella, the road does not bargain." She said, "I know." He said, "The hunt rides tonight." She said, "I know." She said, "Father, I'm going to do it anyway, and I came to tell you because you are the only person in Edell who has not, in 4 years, told me to be quiet about it." Father Edell said, "I will stand the bell tower with you." He stood the bell tower with her. The 2 of them climbed it at sundown, Adella had brought a tallow candle and a piece of paper with her son's full name written in her own hand, his name and his father's name, and the village he had been born in. 3 lines, the way a name is given when a soldier is sworn into a king's army, and the way a name is given back when a body is brought home. And she had brought one of his shirts. She lit the candle on the tower platform. She held the shirt against her chest. She said his name aloud, full name, father's name, village. And she said, "He is on the bone road, and I will not see him again, and you can have me instead." Father Edell heard, at that exact moment, a sound he had never heard before. It was the sound of many horses at gallop, but not in the lane below the tower. The sound was overhead. The sound was above the bell tower. The sound was coming down out of the sky, very fast, and it was a sound the priest understood, the way a man understands an avalanche from the inside. The hunt rode over the bell tower. It rode over the bell tower for what the priest later said was either 3 seconds or 3 hours. He could not say which, because for the duration of the ride, he was not entirely inside time. In those 3 seconds, he heard 63 names. The first was Tomek, Adella's son. The hunt did not stop for Tomek. The rider, whose name was Tomek, was a young man with no face. He looked down at Adella as he passed. He raised a hand, the way a man raises a hand to a mother across a square. He did not stop. He had heard his name said aloud by a woman who had said it without trying to take him back. And the road, Father Edell later understood, accepts that kind of name-saying. It does not call it a bargain. It calls it a release. The rider, Tomek, went over the tower and did not come back. Father Edell watched him go. Then the hunt began to take its other names. The next name was Bren, the innkeeper. Bren was sitting in his common room at the moment of the ride, drinking water with his daughter Mira. Bren stood up. Mira said, "Da, where are you going?" Bren walked out the door of the inn and into the lane and was carried up by something Mira could not see. Mira ran out. Mira saw nothing in the lane. Mira sat down in the road and screamed her father's name back at the sky. The sky did not return him. The hunt heard her scream. The next name was Mira. In the bell tower, Father Edell was hearing every name as it was taken. He heard Bren. He heard Mira. He heard the smith and the smith's wife. He heard the smith's older son and the smith's younger son. He heard the weaver, who had been Adella's friend for 30 years, and who had crawled under her loom when the wind began, and who came out from under her loom when she heard her name, and walked into her own front door, and out the back into the yard, and was gone. He heard, at the very end, his own name. He heard his own full name, Errol Manar, son of Errol Manar of Edell, priest of the chapel at Edell. And he heard the rider who had been waiting for it slow down above the bell tower and say it once more, gently, with the patience of a man who has been waiting a very long time. Father Edell said, "I cannot come yet." The rider said, "You have a slate. Write it down, then come." The rider said, "Write what?" The rider said, "Write the names, the order, the thing that took them, the way a hunt is undone. Write it before the growth in your stomach finishes you. Write it because the next Adella who climbs a bell tower with her son's name on a piece of paper should know what the road accepts and what it does not. Write it because no priest in Edell after you will know. Write it because I am asking." Father Edell said, "Who are you?" The rider said, "I was your brother. I died at sea in the 3rd year of the war. You did not say my name. Mother said it once in her sleep, and I came for her, and I have been on the road 13 years. I am not unhappy. I am asking for your hand, not for your life. Write the slate." Father Errol stayed in the bell tower until the hunt finished. The hunt finished at the 3rd hour after midnight. By the 3rd hour, Edell had no one in it but Father Errol and Adella, who had collapsed at the foot of the tower stairs and was unconscious but alive, and Mira, who was sitting in the lane in her father's coat, looking up. The hunt did not take Adella. The hunt did not take Mira. The hunt did not take Father Errol that night. He came down. He carried Adella to her house. He covered her. He went to Mira. He carried Mira to the chapel and laid her in the priest's bed. She slept. She slept for 2.5 days. When she woke, she could not say her own name, and could not say her father's name, and could not say any name. She has not spoken since. She is 45 years old. She lives in the chapel still. The priest who came after Father Errol kept her. The priest who came after that priest kept her. She is fed. She is warm. She is gentle. She does not say a name. Father Errol wrote the slate in his 8 days. He wrote, "The hunt rides 1 night a year. The riders are the dead who are still owed. They take a name said aloud in the open air at the moment of the ride, if the name is one of theirs. They do not take a name said in release. They take a name said in claim. They take a name said in love that wants the person back." Edell said 63 names in claim, because Adella's name-saying broke the seal of the silence the village had kept for 16 years, and the village was unprepared. He wrote, "The hunt does not need a bell tower. The hunt only needs a name said in claim in the open air at the moment of the ride." He wrote, "There is no way to undo a take. The road keeps them. The road sometimes returns them as riders the next year. A rider in the hunt has been heard, in some years, to say his own name back to the village he came from, and to be answered by his own younger brother, and to take that brother. That is the hunt." He wrote, "If you must say a name on the night of the hunt, say it in release. Say, 'He is gone.' Say, 'You may have him.' Say, 'I will not call him back.' The road accepts this. The road does not take you." He wrote, "I have said my own name in release. I am not going to be a rider. I am going to go up the road on my own feet and find my brother and stand with him at the edge of the country and not, when the next October comes, ride over any village." He wrote that last line on the 7th day. He died on the 8th. I have stood in the chapel at Edell. Mira is 50 now and looks 20. She is still there. The slate is hidden under the 3rd stone in front of the altar. The slate is still readable. The priest who is there now, a young man named Errol Trekker, who is no relation, who chose the name because it is the name of the priest who wrote the slate, has read the slate. He keeps it where Father Errol left it. He has not said his own full name aloud in the open air since he came to Edell 3 years ago. He says, when he speaks to me, that on the night of the last October, while he was sitting in the chapel with the door closed, he heard, very faintly, a rider above the chapel slow down and listen, and then move on. He says he does not know whose name the rider was waiting for. He says he is in no hurry to find out. I have walked the Bone Road 3 times in October. I have not been over a village on the last night. I have, on the road itself at twilight that day, heard a hunt going overhead, going west, going slowly, going with patience, going to whatever village is that year, the one that will say a name in claim in the open air at the moment of the ride. I do not know which village it was. I do not know which name they had been waiting for. I do not know if you, in your village, on the last night of October, have a name you have been keeping quiet for a long time, and what would happen if, at the wrong dusk, the right rider went over your roof.